is a story of friends who used COVID to make it more than friendship. And I don't want to steal their thunder, but I've known Bina for a long time. I think you're one of the early Parlay House members. And so it's been so fabulous to see your and Dana's relationship turn into whole new exciting things. And I just want you guys to, this takes 50 minutes, this recipe. So we got a lot of cooking to do, but we don't want to miss the story of how this all happened and what you all are trying to accomplish. So let me turn the floor over to our amazing chefs and founder, entrepreneur, female dream team, and let you take it away.
Oh, wow. That's just amazing. So first of all, Bina and I both are so honored to be here. This is just beyond. And also the fact you've just highlighted how extraordinary my partner is. So I'm so grateful to be a part of this. And would just point out, like, this event itself is very much about what is core to SugarRoti, which is bringing together friends and family, simplifying how you cook, what you cook, and sort of using our spice blends, our product, to bring all of that together. So this, again, is a great example of what we're trying to do through our products. So before I turn it over to my amazing friend and partner here, I thought it would be important that we all get our wine. If we're all sort of indulging here on a Thursday night and we're going to actually pour some wine, we had first the Grenache that will pair very nicely with the chicken. And then we also have a rosé that goes very well with the chickpeas. But I also wanted to call out the rosé that we are using to pair with our chickpeas. This is an incredible company. It's called the McBride Sisters, and I thought this would be so apropos of what we're doing tonight. They're two sisters who found each other later in life. I think one was in their late teens, one was in the early 20s. They came together to start this winery called the McBride Sisters Winery. This particular rosé supports She Can, which is a great organization. But I love their whole reason for being, and everything they do is to sort of promote and raise women. And this in particular, wines that go anywhere for the woman who's going everywhere. So cheers. Cheers. So Bina, over to you.
Cheers, Parlay House.
We're gonna pop open your thing.
And it comes in a can, which is so cool.
We're so excited to be doing this with you guys, and it takes 50 minutes, but you'll see that you have a lot of downtime to get your little drink and just enjoy this whole process that we're gonna go through. So we're gonna make two dishes. We're gonna make the chicken potato curry or the garbanzo. We're gonna show you how to make both of them. Make sure you have all the ingredients and recipes in front of you. And let's get started. So for the chicken, you're gonna need an onion, a tomato. If you want it more spicy, then a serrano pepper and some chicken and potatoes that we're gonna cut up right here. And you guys can start chopping. So the recipe kind of outlines what you wanna do. So the onions, we kind of cheated and we chopped a little bit already. So
and this is both for the potato or the ground.
Yeah. So you just wanna chop it sort of finely chopped here. I chopped the serrano, it's at the bottom. We're gonna throw those back in there together. We also chopped the tomatoes. The chicken, we asked the butcher to chop for us.
That's a great cooking hack. Yeah,
it's a great cooking hack. And Dana, while I tell the story about SugarRoti and how it all kind of started, is gonna chop the potato for us. And we kind of did the same thing with the garbanzo. So the onion, the serrano, and the tomato. And you'll see a lot of dishes ask for those common ingredients, which is like the onion, the potato, the tomato are very common base. And then we have the garbanzo. So I'll let you guys start chopping while I tell a story about SugarRoti and how it started. It was an idea I had now 11 years ago. Feels like yesterday. But it was 11 years ago when a couple things I noticed. Number one is I kept getting sick. And I had really bad eating habits, microwave, out of a box.
Traveling.
I was eating chips, all those things. And then the second thing I noticed was that my siblings were having kids and they were balancing being a mom and trying to cook for the family. And I said, you know, and then all of a sudden the idea came into my head where I spent some time with my grandmother, where every day she would go to the market, pick up whatever was in season, and then she'd come home and make lunch, dinner, and breakfast based on what she shopped that day. And I never was sick, and it was easy. Well, at least she made it look easy. And so I said, oh my God, that was when I felt good. I was healthy. So then that whole evolved into this idea of, why don't I do meals ready to go? Or, well, initially I wanted to do them for my sister, but for everybody. So it was like the initial meal delivery prep idea. So I went through that process. I came up with some of the recipes, and then I shelved it because of the risk factor, the operations, you know, all these other things that were just, the capital cost, all of that stuff. So I sort of took that folder and put it up on the shelf, and then I continued on with my career. My background is in finance. I've helped take 2 companies public, and Dana and I met at our last company where both of us were responsible in the team to help our company go public. And fast forward this pandemic, and Dana and I are on hikes because that's the only thing we can do to get out of the house. We're going to go on hikes, and we did a lot of talking of, we don't want to be in the corporate world. We want to be doing something else. We want to do something that really is going to make a difference in life. And difference for the world, because all of a sudden now those things are very important to me. And so on a hike, the idea came of, why don't I pivot my original idea and provide the spices and the recipes and let people make the meals and have it be easy and modern, yet hold on to the traditions that I grew up with, and also be able to pivot any of those things. So that's sort of where it came from. That's where the idea grew. And then a couple things that were important to me and to Dana, the fact that it had to be easy. We had to do something that was good for the planet, for the people. We didn't want to work in an environment where we felt like it was like very corporate-like. So we made sure those were the founding ideas around SugarRoti. And then the name also was important. So SugarRoti is, it's a very traditional roti with ghee, which is clarified butter, and then some sugar sprinkled on it. Well, a long, long time ago when I was a little girl, my grandmother, when she was making rotis, she would make that little sugar roti for me, roll it up and give it to me, and it was our little treat. Fast forward, I'm at my mom's house, and my nieces and nephew were all lining up when she was making the roti, and they were all asking for SugarRoti. So I felt like that was the name we had to go with, because it was still roots, tradition, simple, just loving things that bring to the table. So we went with that. And then we also decided to go with new. So a lot of you guys have questions about what's new. New, which is a Gujarati word, which is the region in India that I'm from, means for or of. And so we just had to use that. And also we felt like it was perfect because it was new, the Gujarati tradition word, but more importantly, new for the modern day and how you simplify your dishes and how you cook for the modern life, and just how do you transition into a modern world. That's kind of where SugarRoti started.
Well, and then I parachuted in here. Again, like this is why this has been so magical for the two of us over the last years. You know, again, Bina and I became very good friends at our last job. I was the general counsel there. Bina is a badass finance executive, and we just really became fast friends. And then a few months before the pandemic actually really got going, we were both in this sort of transitional situation. We had taken the company public. I was looking for sort of what would be my next opportunity. And I really wanted it to be something that was about, combining both passion and purpose. And so Bina and I spent so much time hiking and just trying to think about how we could pivot, what we could do to take from all the amazing experience we had at our last company together, which was just a magnificent journey. I was so grateful to be there, but take it and be more in the driver's seat and not be in such advisory roles. And, Bina brought up SugarRoti, and then how could we make this a company with discrete products to scale, and then to build around these bones something that really meant something to us, which was built again on our friendship, built on just the precious, timeless, valuable traditions that Bina brought. And we landed on the spices and just realized that they themselves were this incredible opportunity to do all of that and to create these beautiful products. Like, as we started really digging into this and thinking about it, and working in our test kitchen, AKA my house kitchen, we just made, hundreds of little baggies of these different spices and playing with them. And, then sort of thinking about what the next steps would be as the pandemic hit. And it really was a silver lining for us. It gave us an opportunity to really just hunker down in our home, sit at the dining room table, come into the kitchen, mail things out, get all these feedback, and just be brave and really throw ourselves into this. Yeah. And so in less than a year, we took Bina's original idea and developed these beautiful spices that we're so proud of, the packaging around them, the foundation for a company, a social media presence, an ethos, a value proposition, a website, and the spices themselves, which are so beautiful. I mean, all the packages, we designed them, each one of them. I mean, it's just been a blast. Yeah. And then landing here, having this opportunity to be talking to all of you, it's just, mind-boggling, frankly.
And we're going to talk about a lot of the lessons we learned as we went through this process. But the most important thing I wanted to talk about before we start cooking and continue to talk through all our lessons learned is the one thing that's important to me and to Dana is I love the fact that we bring different things to the table. And there's so many things we don't even know. We were super blinded when we walked into creating this organization that we call SugarRoti. And we knew some things and we knew so much that we just didn't know anything about. And that has been an amazing experience. And that's what makes this so much fun, is that Dana and I are true partners. We're co-founders, we're co-CEOs, and we both have this relationship where we bounce not only just ideas off of each other, but we have each other to go, okay, well, this is how you should be doing it based on my experience, or this is how you should not be doing it based on our experience. And I think what I love about even this, sharing this with you guys is also learning from you guys, what you guys bring to the table. And I think that's what makes SugarRoti that whole community. It's like, this is not just SugarRoti created by us. This is SugarRoti where all of us are going to be growing and learning and going through an amazing experience.
Yeah. And we talk about this a lot. It's like the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. It is that simple thing of the concept of a roti itself. It's, a roti, butter, and sugar, but it's really exponentially more than that. And that's really what we together, our friendship, which is such a gift to be able to work with someone that I really trust and respect so much, to be a part of her tradition and to be able to bring this into a contemporary setting.
I want to ask a question, because one of the things that I love most about Indian food is exactly what you talked about: butter and sugar. Now, I've been reading this recipe. I see neither of those ingredients.
This is the savory side of the house.
This is the savory. So that's such a great question. And SugarRoti, again, is the reason I love that name is it's not that it's sugar and butter, but it's about the simplicity and the tradition and bringing that forward and sort of evolving it to the modern day. all our recipes, which are a lot of the recipes on the back of the package. We have a QR code where it has more recipes, but every single one of our recipes is very much balanced. I took old traditional recipes where it was all about butter and it was all about sugar and cream, and said, how do we make this better for today's life? And so even this dish, these two dishes we're making are slightly altered where we're not using cream. And if you do want to use ghee, you can, but you can use olive oil. If you don't want to use chicken, you can use plant-based chicken or any protein. So it's and add greens. And that's the whole thing about our packages. It's about what ingredients do you have in the pantry, in the refrigerator? What did you find at the farmer's market? And what am I going to make with it?
Right. They empower you. See, that's the thing too for cook. And FYI, there are some sweet things on the site. We have like a chai muffin. We have the chai apple pie. Yeah, we have gold milk pudding. And we'll keep iterating. But also that's what we're counting on the community to do as well. Because we're giving you the spices and we're giving you beautiful recipes. When you go to our site, you'll see. But what we want you to do is also to just incorporate them into your cooking as well and build your own recipes around these spices, which are really intimidating to pull together when you don't have it all done for you, as we've done. And Bina will show you a little example of that here shortly.
So let's, I don't know how everybody's doing with their chopping.
Yeah.
Do you have your onions chopped? If you're using serrano.
Ready to hit the stove.
All right, we're ready to eat the stove. So the first thing I do is we're going to turn our stove on to medium and medium high. So that's what I'm going to do for the chicken.
Okay.
Yeah. So here, I'm going to let that pot get hot. You always want it to be hot, and then that's when you put the olive oil or ghee. That's important because that's going to help with the blooming or tempering of the spices that are in our package. One of the things I wanted to show you, I don't know if you can see. Can you see from here, from there, here?
Kind of.
Very important example for you.
Yeah, hold on. I'm going to try to see if I hopefully I'm not going to shake it.
Hold it over.
Yeah, hold on.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Ready?
So, yeah. So we went through Dana's kitchen and spice cabinet. And
To my shame, this is what we
all
found.
the spices we found. Back here are all the duplicate spices that she had.
Oh, wow.
She had 3 of these curry spices, which I think a lot of people feel that just when I use this curry, I'm making curry, but it's not. It's probably I'm not even sure exactly what it has. But the value proposition that we're bringing is, first of all, you got duplications, you got all this, you got glass bottles, recycling, and what we bring is this.
Yeah.
You have everything you need in this package, and you got a meal for 4.
They're fresh. You know how long they've been on their shelf.
Yeah.
I have to say, one of the lids in that list, in that grouping, actually is
Rusted.
So that's embarrassing.
Okay, so your pot should be hot somewhat here now. I'm gonna try. I have mine on high, so I'm gonna turn it down just slightly. And I'm not really into measuring, so forgive me, but you're gonna do 3 tablespoons of olive oil or ghee, which is clarified butter. I'm just gonna kind of wing it. I'm gonna be Rachel Ray.
Oh, there you go. Woo! Aspirational. Although we have cooked so many of these by this point in time.
Yes,
I feel like
I have it memorized.
Yeah.
Okay, so you'll see that if your pot's hot, then your olive oil should be bubbling like the way it is right here.
Yeah, it gets a little shimmery.
Yep, and so you're just gonna rip open this package and you're gonna pour all the contents of that package into the oil, and you'll see it kind of sizzling. That's exactly what you want.
Yes, and it's so beautiful. Look at that.
So cool.
And 100% compostable. You can throw this in your compostable bag. Bin. Okay, and you're just gonna stir like your little spices around. Hopefully you can, I feel like I'm like turning my back to you, so I'm gonna do this. So as it kind of starts getting a little dark colorish, then you can throw in your onions. And a medium-sized onion is what we use. If you want more, you can add more onions if you want. It's totally up to you. And just kind of stir it to get the spices, get your onions covered in the spice.
Beautiful. Yeah, and a medium onion, it's typically about 2 cups of finely chopped. But again, to Bina's point, use more, use less. It's completely to taste.
Up to you. Let it kind of sit and get all these nice taste buds together.
Oh, good.
Oh, there you go.
You have to worry about it getting too cooked through.
No, it's just you'll see it. It's like semi-caramelized kind of.
And that's what you want? You want it to be semi-caramelized?
Yeah, you want them to soften, right?
Okay.
For anyone who can't see or who doesn't have the packet, it comes with like a whole bark of cinnamon and like star anise, I think this is.
Yeah, gorgeous.
How cool is that?
Yeah.
So let's add the tomatoes that you've chopped.
And we're starting with the chicken first, you guys, just because the chicken takes a little bit longer to cook than the garbanzo.
Yep. And if you can't tell how long your onions and tomatoes, so onions about 3 to 5 minutes. Once you add the tomatoes, about 1 to 2 minutes. How's everybody looking? How are you guys feeling?
I'm looking good, and it's smelling so good.
Oh, yay! That's the other thing. All the senses. It's visual, the smell, and the taste.
Yep. Amazing.
I just wanted, since that camera's not working, I'm going to show you what mine looks like. Can you see it there? That's kind of what it's looking like. It smells delicious. All right, so next, it's been about 1 or 2 minutes. We're going to add the potatoes that you've chopped 1 inch.
And with the potatoes, if you chop them ahead of time, put them in a little bit of water, and it takes some of the starch out, but it keeps them from turning brown as well.
Yes.
We just are working so efficiently here. We didn't need to put them in water.
And I'm going to add the chicken as well.
I'm sorry, say it again. Add the potatoes to the pot, and what else?
And the chicken. And stir it. Again, get it all nice and coated.
Oh, that's beautiful. With all those whole spices, lovely. Okay, I should probably get going on the chicken.
Yeah, just so
Wait, I have to point out that Leanne is like, I love that you have a ring light in your kitchen.
Oh, totally. Yeah. We take it everywhere we go, right? My kids would be so proud.
okay, so this is what it looks like once you throw it in. It's not cooked yet, but this is sort of like everything's mixed. And guess what? You're almost done. The only other thing you now need to add is the 1 cup of water or chicken broth.
Yeah, whatever.
Whatever you
Vegetable
want. So
broth,
you're
chicken
gonna
broth.
throw that in there. And you're just gonna stir that.
Okay, and I'm gonna start going on the chickpea. That's not as long, so it doesn't need to cook the chicken. So we'll get going on that.
And that is it, ladies and gentlemen. Now you're just gonna let it cook. You stir it once or twice to make sure nothing sticks to the pan. But
Now, what about the serranos?
sorry,
Do the serranos go in later?
No, you put that in with the onion.
Yep. So throw it in there now.
Well, I missed that part.
Okay, and I'm now moving on to the garbanzo, which again won't take quite as long, but same process. I'm now going to temper these beautiful spices, just like Bina did with the chicken. So you always start with that. Bloom them is another way to describe it.
Oh, a couple questions, ladies. Number one, Anna is wondering, do we cover it? Do we cover this while it's cooking?
You don't have to cover it. So the way covering works is if you want more curry juice, then cover it up. If you want it more on the dry end, then leave it open. So it's whatever you want.
Off,
you have
right.
to let the liquid cook off.
Awesome. And then what is your favorite pan to cook this with?
What is my favorite what?
Pan, like what kind of pan do you use?
Yeah.
Well, these have been our workhorses, these stove pans, STAUB. They just have been fantastic.
Yep.
And they come with a cover, but they really, the heat is really distributed nicely, and they're big enough, but not too big. And they're really easy to clean. Oddly enough, because they're not really, they're not coated.
You know what's funny? Is anyone else feeling like, oh, I really need to grab my salt and salt this and pepper this? Like I'm so not used to not seasoning.
It's all in the package. So this little package, not only does it have all the powder spices and salt, but it has the whole spices as well. And all our spices are organic, 100%. And then, like we said before, what was
Where do you source spices, Bina?
Sorry?
Where do you source your spices?
We source our spices from a company here in San Diego, and they went out and got that was a great learning experience. That was another one of those great learning experiences where we're like, we just
Trying
want
to find
spices.
like-minded partners,
Yeah.
right? And who are they, and how do you really know, and what kind of diligence, and especially the more complicated layer was it was the pandemic, so we actually couldn't go down and meet with them and see their facilities.
Yes.
So it was a lot of questions and a lot of calls. It's a very niche industry, these spice companies, and I think that it's a good example of an industry that is being pulled into the modern times in terms of people like us, companies like us coming and saying, well, we need them to all be organic. And tell us, what is your supply chain? What are the steps you put in place to ensure that your own suppliers are, growing them properly, or complying with all these requirements, and are treating their employees fairly?
Yeah.
And to be honest, like, we will go to India at some point and be able to meet with these people.
And the spices are from around the world, not just India. But it was, like Dana said, it was such a learning experience, because I felt like I knew what organic meant, but we didn't know. So it was that whole learning and teaching ourselves what it meant. It's not black and white.
Can I ask you a question? You're both.
It's not.
You were both really senior level people. I mean, you've been very modest in how you've talked about your past careers, but how do you now collaborate? How do you divide responsibilities? And what are the things that are hardest about a friendship that's turned into a business?
Okay, that's a great question. I'll start and then Dana, you can add. So I think that the first thing we did is we had an honest discussion of, if we don't gel, we need to talk to each other and just bring it on to, and it's not personal. So that was the very first thing we did, is said, in order for this to work, we got to be honest. We got to throw it out there. It's not personal. It's about the business. And that's some of the things I've learned sort of through my career. And the second thing we did is we kind of started carving out things that we were good at. Okay, Dana, well, obviously you're going to do legal. And Bina, you obviously are going to do Excel.
In my life. Yeah.
But then we started sort of taking, really kind of going through and saying, okay, well, where do we add value? What are some of the things? Like, Dana's amazing at picking out the design and the colors, or even the font we picked. She's so great at that, versus I was like, oh yeah, that looks good. Let's go with that. And Dana's like, no, this is not gray enough, or this chicken's not drawn nice enough. And I'm like, oh, looks great to me. So it was about communicating and really trusting each other. When we said X, great, I 100% believe in you, let's move forward. Or, hey, let's have a discussion. Let me hear your point of view. I want you to hear my point of view, and then let's then decide. And that's kind of how we've been doing a lot of our.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a great question. And as we continue to grow and evolve, I think we'll need to be far more defined about roles and responsibilities. Again, it was a very natural evolution in terms of Bina having such deep roots, and she's so great in the finance world. And, you know, my sort of more regulatory, working with the suppliers, understanding language, you know, a lot of the writing, like another story is this whole world of SEO where we were like, what? You know, we don't want to say it that way. And it's like, oh, you have to use this word. You have to use this word again and again and again and again. But it's been very easy for us to collaborate. Well, I mean, spice, for example, Indian spice. I mean, we were like, oh my God, I'm sick reading it. I hate it, you know, and then, you know, trying to figure out how to come up with a balance that was reflective of us and our values and our aesthetic, which is reflected in all aspects of our company, but then having an effective website because we are purely e-commerce. So it has to work. Yeah. So that was a big learning for both of us.
Yeah, and we're not marketing people. So
well, I will say you are far more than I. Yeah,
I know, but it was very interesting because
logistical question for the garbanzo people: did you drain them?
Yes.
Yes. You drain the garbanzos. You don't rinse them, but you drain them.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry. So
that's okay. So we're not marketing people. So that was a huge learning. That was like, and then for me, it was black and white.
And it continues to be a huge learning. And like building our team and understanding what to expect and what we should push back on, and you know, starting to trust our judgment in a area where both of us were very much neophytes.
Yeah. And I think the most important part is like standing our ground. This is the story, because the marketing team would say, oh, you need to use this word, or you need to write the story this way. And it's like, no, we truly believe this is what it needs to be. So that was a really great, you know, standing our ground on that piece. And I think the other hardest part for me personally, when it came to marketing, it was like, every dollar I spend on marketing, I better see a sale. And it's learning that, nope, that is not what happens. So that was great.
Just because I know we have a lot of garbanzo people on, do you want to take, oh, hi, Kitty. I love the kitty walking on your
on my countertop. Yes. I sterilize that every day. Yeah.
Tell us what you're doing with the garbanzos for those people.
Okay, so following on sort of the theme of our recipes, same process as Bina shared with you. You put in, I used olive oil. You can use the ghee, which is also clarified butter. I put my beautiful spices in and let them bloom, which is called tempering. I added my onion, again, just like Bina and the chicken curry. Let that soften for 1 or 2 minutes. I added my tomatoes, let that sort of melange together, warm for, again, another 1 to 2 minutes. Now I've just added my garbanzo beans, which I had drained but not rinsed. And now we're going to add the water.
And the recipe asks for 1.5 cups. So again, I usually start with the cup and see how much, do I want more curry, less curry? Right. So that's what we're gonna do.
I just noticed that my tomatoes let out more water, so I had it covered, but now it's looking super liquidy, so I'm just taking the cover off, right?
Perfect, that's exactly right.
That's exactly right.
Yep, and this is, again, like you should, you know, once you get comfortable with this, I like Bina, I like sort of a more concentrated, less liquid. But again, when you cover it, you know, turn it down, you can sort of work within that spectrum to taste. So this one we need to cover.
Yeah. And those of you that are making the chicken curry, just stir it, make sure it's working. Nothing sticking at the bottom, and then check your chicken and check your potatoes. So your chicken, if you press it, should be coming apart, making sure it's cooked. And then same with your potato, if you press it, should be coming apart. If it hasn't,
mushy.
But yeah, not mushy. So if it's not coming, it's still very hard, then you still need to cook it.
Okay, so then the question is, would you generally serve this over rice? If so, do you have a rice recipe that you could share? And what about chutneys? Do you make your own? Do you?
Yes. Great questions. Yes.
So rice, I like. So you know what? you can serve both of these dishes over rice. I like basmati rice.
Yeah, which we made
ahead of time.
We prepared just simple steamed rice.
And then I also, sometimes I don't like to eat white rice, so I do quinoa or I do couscous or whatever you love, make that. I use a lot of brown rice, so I do that. And then we also have naan that you can buy at the store, which is what we did. And then we're going to try to come up with a recipe to help you make naan at home.
Yes.
And then the chutneys are fun. Right now we have one recipe on the site. It's the cilantro chutney that you can go on the site and make, which is delicious to have on the side. The other one we're gonna also try to make is a mango chutney that is very traditional Indian chutney on the side.
That's on our product roadmap, actually.
Yeah. And then and then a lot of the times, if it's too, you start eating and you're like, oh my gosh, this serrano was too hot, or whatever the case might be, I always have yogurt or sour cream or any,
coconut milk. People have tried coconut milk.
And you can pour a little bit of that to kind of temper down the spice.
And are the garbanzos supposed to stay whole, or do you mash them?
You take a quarter cup of them and kind of mash them in a bowl and then throw them back in to give it like that thickness factor.
Thicker consistency. But you don't have to either.
Yes, you don't have to.
And the cilantro is going to go on the top at the end?
Yes.
Okay.
Every single dish always have in
we have our fresh cilantro that we chop at the end of every.
They always put it on top because it gives it not only that color but also that freshness.
Okay, I have a question. What about like Indian pickle? Like one of my favorite things in the world to eat plain or with Indian food is this, like, I found it in a jar. It's a brand called Aka's, and it's Meyer lemon Indian pickle.
Mm-hmm.
It's like amazing. Have you heard of that? Have you heard of that brand? Are you going to make that?
But I haven't heard of that brand, but I've definitely heard of the lemon Meyer pickle chutney, and we're definitely going to make that.
Yeah, we have one recipe where we took photographs with that in it, but again, it's on our product roadmap. That with rub as well, yeah.
Well, as your roadmap comes out and comes into fruition, share it with us so that we can tell everybody their new recipes.
Of course. So for those of you guys who are making the chicken, it should be pretty much done, but double check. And the garbanzo should be almost done as well.
Yeah, the garbanzos covered, simmered is right, around 13 to 15 minutes. It really depends, again, on how soft and how much water you want them to absorb.
Yeah. And again, as you can see, this is really fun and easy. It's a good way to even get your kids to help you. I like that somebody's doing yoga while they're cooking right there. Hi, Claudia. I love it.
Oh my gosh.
You're rocking it. So there, you can do yoga while you're cooking. It's great. My nieces and nephews help me because it's a great way to talk with your kids. Have them chop the onions. Who cares if it's not pretty? The great part about the spices is your dish is always going to come out the same because it's all measured for you.
Love that.
Yeah.
Aria, coming along.
Oh, it's coming along. Here, let me show you. Mine's simmering. I admittedly got my potatoes chopped and tomatoes and chicken chopped a little late. So I'm still simmering away.
Ooh,
but
it's so beautiful.
Here's
thank you.
Here's mine. I have less curry because I like it.
Oh, yes.
Big size.
That looks great. And I wanted to tell you about one other very important factor of prepping this thing for all of you. My onion glasses. Has anyone ever seen these?
Oh,
yes, I just saw them.
So dorky, they're cool. How about that?
But I swear it's unreal. They're actually my roommates, but they're like amazing. Like no tears, nothing. They're phenomenal. Highly recommend. Yes. Just putting it out there.
I love it. I saw it on the New York Times. But I'm going to show the chole or the garbanzo to you.
Look at that.
Here's the.
Can you guys see that?
But this is the garbanzo beans.
It's such a 10. It's so good.
And this is done. And the last step of the dish before you throw in the cilantro is to take away those
Remove all
those spices, the whole spices, like the cinnamon stick, the chili peppers, whatever you can find. If you can't find the small ones, don't worry about it. You know, they're all eatable or edible.
Yeah. Except for the chili pepper.
Yeah, you don't want to eat the chili pepper or the cinnamon stick.
Or the bay leaf, probably.
Oh, the bay leaves.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Those are easy. It's the cardamom pods that get you.
Yeah. Any questions? How's everybody doing?
Yeah, how's everyone doing?
Feeling?
You having fun?
I'm having fun. I'm also on my second glass of wine. So
Yes, so are we. I just opened the other can. I did it very quietly. Yeah.
It's not wine o'clock yet, so you guys have a drink for me. I'll catch up in a few hours.
I love it. I have a question for you too on more of like the business side. Because Dana, you mentioned that this was like, you started talking about this and thinking about this idea before the pandemic, and then the pandemic happened. Like, how did you move forward and feel about, you know, this sort of, you know, any new business is a risk. So how did you like get through that decision-making process and decide, yeah, we're going to go for it still? I'm so curious.
Well, I mean, so to be honest, one of the reasons that I'm so in love with this whole idea is that I am a breast cancer survivor. So I was diagnosed in 2014, and it definitely changed my life. I mean, it's somewhat of a cliche, I would imagine. Sadly, there's people on this call that are survivors of breast cancer. And it really changed how I eat, how I cook, what I eat. And it very much revolved around so many of the spices that are in these blends. So it was a very natural sort of embracing of the idea of this product. Unfortunately or fortunately, I had another little cancer thing happen about a year ago. So it really just, and then again, we were so lucky to be part of taking this amazing company public. And that was an almost 6-year journey for me. And I just realized that, you know, getting to know Bina and having what really is an opportunity that was delivered to us through this otherwise awful pandemic, I'm so much more comfortable with the idea of failure, not that this will fail, but than I am with regret. And that really was the lens that I look at so many things now in my life, but especially this. Like, we are in it, and I mean, I would have regretted for the rest of my life not taking the opportunity to work with Bina and to build on this beautiful idea and to be a part of this. I'm so proud of it. My kids are proud of it. I love our products.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, we truly, truly believe in this product. Like, I know deep down inside that this is an amazing kitchen hack. Like, this is going to change the way you do. You're going to cook at home. You're not going to worry about all those spices. And then we just have this passion for it. And we also feel like this is really addressing sustainability in the world. You know, you don't just stop buying those bottles of spices that you're only going to use once. You know, stop buying glasses that, you know, we don't know what's going to happen to them when we're done with the spices, when we use them. And you know what, when you go, you know, there's like 15, 18 spices in here. You're going to go buy all of these. It's going to cost you hundreds of dollars. And then you're going to put it in the closet and you're going to measure it.
There's rust on that lid. That's how long that has been sitting in my cupboard.
So we just had a passion for it. So we sat as soon as we said, we're going to do this, and we were determined to do this, even though we were doing it out of a living room.
But it was so easy. It was so easy to do this. Like, all of those things coming together, you know, there's a be brave, but it just was almost like braver to do this and then not. Yeah.
Well, I think your line, your framework that you'd rather live with failure than regret is such a mission to try that's, you know, if everybody can carry that forward, you know, that's worth the hour you just spent, because that's a pretty awesome perspective on life and of trying.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I've been thinking about this for 10 years, you know, like I kept putting it up on the shelf because something better was either coming or I didn't understand
Necessity. You know,
But,
you have
yeah.
a career, you have
Yeah.
to work, you know?
Yeah, but it was like take charge.
Yes.
Yes. And you're also you're breaking down a lot of barriers with this because you know, Suji actually literally just said a great example. But what I was going to say is like Indian cooking, right? Or really any cultural cooking that has like tons and tons of spices. You know, we all love to eat, we love to go get, but a lot of the times it's like, oh, I'm not going to cook that because I look up the recipe and it's like
Right.
all of these millions of spices and it just feels intimidating. And there's like language that we don't understand. And at least here, I think everyone on the call right now is in the US, but you know, it's hard to find. Exactly, Mitra, that's so true. And you're making it, you know, one thing I love about you too is not only are you making it more accessible and like, you know, more sustainable through both like the packaging to the way that you source your spices, but you're making it more accessible and crossing borders, right? Like you're using these spices and you're coming up with recipes that aren't necessarily like Indian, you know, traditional dishes. Like tell us more about why you decided to do that and kind of what your favorite cross-border dishes are for your spice packs.
Show.
So that was one of the things that I loved about that was the other reason why I'm super passionate about this, which is the whole like I add spice back into your life, because this little package not only makes a traditional Indian curry, but makes, you know, well, like for example, we made from using the garbanzo, we made hummus, which is awesome. It has
yummy,
and that
delicious.
recipe's in there. You can make so many other things using the garbanzo. We have about 7 recipes. With the chicken, we also made chicken salad. It's
so good.
It's delicious. And you know, sometimes I'm a single person. I usually cook something on Sundays, and you can easily make this, put it in your refrigerator, and then eat it on top of a salad, sandwich, whatever.
Fabulous.
You can make chicken shepherd pie.
This hummus,
look at that.
Oh, wow. But this hummus, to die for.
Yeah.
It is so good.
Yep. We made with the fish new spice, we made tacos. And that was the whole thing. It's like you can definitely make that Indian traditional curries. You can make so much more. I love shepherd's pie. I love chicken pot pie. My nephew loves it. You can make it using this.
One of the things that I love about what you guys are doing is most of it is one pan. And when you think of the water shortage in California or the time shortage among all of us who love good food but don't want to do the dishes for half an hour every night, it's great.
It's super and it's fun. And sometimes like the lentils or the beef or the lamb, you can even make them in your Instapot or on, you know, put it all in on the, what's that, the little pot you plug in and you let it sit for a couple hours.
The slow cooker.
The slow cooker, thank you.
But the thing is, you guys, you can do anything with them, like anything you can think of. We've given you like the tool to, you know, as Ariel was saying, like there's no boundaries. And these spices, the flavor profile and the health and wellness, they go in anything. Scrambled eggs, something as basic as that. We came up with a recipe just for scallops. It takes like 15 minutes. Yeah. You do the onions and then shallots, and then you throw the scallops in, brown them in butter, add it all together. It's amazing, and it's so easy. So you just, anything you can think of, like what favorite simple recipe? Like we were noodling around a few months ago and we're like, let's just put it in meatloaf. And it was so good.
I think we should, we'll source ideas and ways that our members try your spices. And if we come up with anything creative, we'll send it your way. Who knows, it could be a Parlay House special blend.
Try it. You guys try it and share it with the community. But we're always in this kitchen testing. We're happy to test anything.
Like the next thing I want to test is avocado toast because that's my niece's favorite, and I want to see if I can make avocado toast.
I bet you can. I bet you can.
Oh my gosh, SugarRoti is going to be the next like everything spice. Like it's going to have its own everything.
Well, that's what we want. We want you to just have these packets in your spice drawer, your spice cupboard, right?
Yeah, because you saved all that space getting rid of the
exactly like I did. None of this is going back into into my cupboard, right? First of all, they're older than my oldest child, which is embarrassing because she's 20, so they're not going back.
Which of the spice packets would you use for avocado toast is one question.
I'm playing with it. I'm going to actually play with 2 packages. I'm going to play with it this weekend. So the first one I'm going to play with is egg new spice because I want to make I want to put a soft boiled egg on top. And then the second one I'm going to use is the vegetable one where we don't put the egg in it. And I'm going to see which one.
Or put the egg on top of the vegetable too. You know, they're just ever so slightly different flavor profiles, but they all are so good together.
When you make your spices, what level of spice are you sort of gearing it towards? Is it on the mild to medium side?
It's definitely on sort of that medium side. That's why if you like this hot, spicy, we recommend you add the serrano. You can also take the seeds off of the serrano and only add, you know, the non-seeded portion of it. That kind of gets it to like the medium high.
Yeah, I mean, I would say as a sort of neophyte starting, we have this construct of dots, you know, 1 dot being very mild, 2 dots being kind of medium. So they're all sort of between 1 and 2. If you add the serrano, they're firmly a 2. And, you know, when you include the seeds, you can bring it up over the 2.
3, 4.
Yeah, so you can sort of own it. And then even if you do that because you just sort of like the taste, you add a dollop of really nice Greek sour cream, that tangy sour cream, or a yogurt or sour cream, and it really dials it all down, and it's just a different kind of flavor profile.
Oh, and can I introduce you to Lebne? Has anyone else become obsessed with Lebne? It's like, I guess it's like concentrated yogurt is how it's described. It's like the best.
Oh my gosh, I love that idea. No, I didn't know about that. Because I much prefer that tanginess of yogurt than I do sour cream. So that's,
same.
Oh, so we're gonna try that. Okay.
Oh yes, do it.
Yeah, you.
Lebne, yeah.
Okay.
Well,
this is the most like accessible one.
Okay.
Wonderful hour. I know I see a lot of people who are feeding their families dropping off to go do that.
Show us your curry. Here's mine.
Love the idea of cauliflower instead of potatoes. That's another great idea. But this is just so much fun. And I love that we all did it together and we're now going to go and eat with our families. And what a perfect way to end a Thursday. So thank you.
We're so honored again. And cheers. Thank you all so much. Yes.
Cheers. Thank you for sharing your story. And we look forward to watching your success. And let's dance out, everybody, because who doesn't like a little brown sugar?
Here comes dessert, everybody.
Oh, there we go.